Fun fact, this video is brought to you by Squarespace. Need a website and don't know how? Make it with Squarespace. Okay, let me start off this video with an apology. I didn't introduce Greg last video. Greg, I'm so sorry. Can you forgive me? He'll get over it. Yes, I'm back with another Prixel video. You guys, I'm obsessed and I'm not going to apologize for it. I've been messing around with it a lot and I started to question my style with it. For example, this is a fish I created with as few pieces as possible. Then I created another fish with more details and another with more details and texture. So it got me thinking, how much detail do I want to add with these Prixel pieces? How much is enough? In today's video, we're gonna find out. Here we go. To start off with, we are going to create a popsicle. It should be easy enough. So as you can see, we have our stick, keeping it super simple with a single 1x4 rectangle piece. Now, as I continue to experiment with my style with the Prixel print, I have gone out and bought an array of different ink colors. But because the Prixel is just so fun and round and playful, it really made me want to keep my colors bright and colorful and fun. So I don't have any brown ink, but I do mix, what is it? Orange and yellow to make this sort of popsicle stick. It's definitely more fun than just using brown for a stick. I'm really talking a lot. Okay, our first popsicle, very simple, but also very cute. Moving on to our second level of popsicle. Now, this is also a very similar concept to my horse video where I drew a horse very simple and cute with as few details as possible, and then we went to realism. Now, I'm definitely not going to be reaching realism in this video, but I just want to figure out what level of detail I think would suit this art material the best. Our stick has gotten a little bigger, a little thicker. I wanted to add some melting drops to our popsicle. I absolutely love doing that with my popsicle drawings. And just to add a little extra something, I think a gradient color from a light blue ink to a darker blue ink would make this a little bit more fun and detailed of a drawing. So that is our level 2 popsicle. I think this little guy turned out very cute. I'm pleased so far. So now it is time to move on to our level 3 popsicle. To start, our stick has gotten longer. And this time I thought it would be very cute to play around with the shape of the popsicle instead of just a basic popsicle shape, you know, long, thin, rounded at the top. I'm still gonna keep it simple because the material isn't the most complex when it comes to design, and I think a cute little froggy would fit perfectly. It's a simple frog, you'll see later. But I did want to play around with creating layers of transparency, which was actually quite tricky. I started off by putting light ink down in a very small pat of darker blue ink. Simplified the shape, and honestly, I think it turned out pretty good. This actually took a few tries. When it comes to printmaking, I feel like it's best to have multiples that I work on at one time to make sure that some of them don't turn out, and maybe I'll end up with at least one that looks good. For our final details to make it look like a frog, of course, we have to add eyes and that cute mouth, and there you go. We have our transparent layered frog popsicle for level 3. Honestly, I love all 3 of these, but I'm starting to get a feel that the level 2 is about where I want my, I guess, complexity of style to be with the DIY stamp kit. Golly, being creative sure makes me tired. Let's take a break to thank the sponsor of this video, Squarespace. With their flexible website templates, you can easily choose out of their award-winning templates which design you like, and easily customize it to your look, update your content, add features. Are you a secretive person? You can create members areas, ooh. Monetize your content by selling membership access to exclusive sections of your website. That's right, lock out the losers. And of course, you can create your own online store with Squarespace. Whether you're selling physical, digital, or service products, Squarespace has the tools you need to start selling online, just like me. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/KaseyGolden to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thank you so much to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Let's get back to the Prixel because I'm obsessed. Something that makes the Prixel unique, compared at least to Lego, is that it comes with these very thin line work pieces. When I think about printmaking, I don't know what it is, I just think about working line lists with blocks of color, but I'm starting to realize that printmaking can be so much more than than that. And in the future, I think it'd be really fun to play around with a completely line worked piece. But I am completely off topic here. We're making a glass of orange juice. Look at it. For our level 1 glass of orange juice, I couldn't resist giving it just a little tiny disturbance in the water level. Instead of making it completely flat, I gave it a little wave. And there you go. Moving on to level 2. Obviously, we have to make the glass bigger, taller, still keeping the smaller rounded corners of the glass. So that is our glass. Moving on to the orange juice itself. Obviously, we're just going to be filling up the glass with orange juice. Oh, and of course, even more waves to the liquid. It's just a lot more fun than keeping it a straight level. If you've noticed on level 1, I like to use the bigger rounded corners for the actual drink in the glass, which leaves a little bit of a white outline on the corners of the glass. I think it's just a very small detail that shows that the glass itself has a different shape that the liquid fills in, if that makes any sense. It's a small detail, but I like it. Just like with our popsicle, we are going to be adding a gradient from orange to red. You know, it just adds a little something to the piece. For the final detail, I'm going to be adding a little bit of fizzy bubble in there. Like I said, it just adds a little something. Sometimes the smallest details can really add. What's the phrase? Less is more? That's it. That's the phrase. For our level 3 drink, you might be getting deja vu. If you follow me on Twitch or Instagram or Twitter, you have actually seen a very similar, if not almost the same piece. It was the inspiration for this video, and it's where I started to think, what amount of detail do I want to put into my stamp pieces? Obviously, our glass is getting bigger and we're using the even larger rounded corners. And I've also added a little toothpick in the top so that we can add some fruit later. We're really gonna be jazzing up this drink. A bigger drink means more surface area for waves, though I will be honest, my wave placement was horrendous. It might look good now, but the details I add later, it just didn't look so great. But you know what? That's fine, we move on. The same gradient, but I added just a little bit of yellow at the top. Honestly, my favorite parts of this piece are the fruit details. We have an orange slice in the glass. Adding the rind and all the little details to the orange is very simple, but very fun. The cherries, again, so simple, yet those two circles are so cute. In the finishing touches, again, with the carbonated bubbles, this time bigger bubbles, more bubbles, and a gradient from a darker red to a darker orange. I didn't want the bubbles to be too distracting. In my original piece, it was almost red and it was just a little too much. I think these bubbles are perfect. And although a glass of orange juice isn't the most fun subject, I think these turned out cute still. Not as cute as the popsicle, but still cute. All right, it is time for a subject matter I love creating. If you guessed cats, you're correct. We're also going back to non-line arted work. I'm actually gonna be working with black ink and we're just gonna be working with blocks of shape. So for our level 1 kitty cat, I wanted to create a cat out of as few shapes as possible. Now, I could get abstract and work with even fewer pieces than this, but I wanted to make sure that we did have a nice illustrated style. I wanted to make sure you knew for sure that this was a cat. Pointy ears, round head, tail. Unfortunately, no room for eyes. I could have done a second layer of some sort of color if I had a lighter colored cat, but no eyes, super simple. It's a cutie. For our level 2 cat, I knew I wanted to include eyes this time. The head still wasn't big enough to include super large eyes, but we were gonna get eyes in there somehow. Playing around with the shapes and the pieces, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I did these half open circle eyes and they are so cute. It gives the cat attitude, personality, all from just a couple of half circles. It's great what you can do with such simple shapes. I was actually really surprised with how much cat shape I was able to get out of these shapes. The two ears being different shapes, one thicker than the other, maybe because it's an angle. Thought that was fun. I'm starting to get a more defined cat shape with the chest sticking out, the rounded back, a longer tail, an actual paw. I colored the eyes yellow and gave it pupils with the thin pieces. And there we go, we have our level 2 cat. And now it's time for our level 3 cat. I knew I was definitely going to be able to get some more smoother shapes and gradients within this cat. The Prixel comes with some really interesting pieces. The ones that really stick out to me, especially again to compare it to Lego that it doesn't have, are the small triangle piece, the inverted circle piece, which I used for making the eyes. These pieces are really nice to connect other pieces together. Instead of having a rough 90-degree angle, you can make it a smooth curved angle. Working with these pieces are definitely something that I feel like I need to work a little bit more with. Our cat is definitely getting more there, but I'm looking at it now and I can see where some areas are a little bit more rough. I could definitely use a smoother transition, some editing, and that's the thing that I love the most about the Prixel. Well, at least compared to something like a lino cut. Once you make a cut, you're done. There's no going back. But with the Prixel, you can always go back and remake the pattern, make your edits. And for someone like me that's indecisive and always changing their mind about design, I love that. Obviously, you cannot compare the two materials. You are really trading off the level of detail you can get, but personally, it's more my style. We have big, round yellow eyes this time, and again with the single line pupil. I think this cat is very cute. I'm torn about this one. Obviously, level 1 has too little detail for my taste, but the level 2 cat is very cute. Level 3 cat, also very cute. For our fourth and final subject, I am doing something else that is near and dear to my heart: potted plants. I guess I should have did a cactus. Why did I do a plant? Well, anyway, I started off with a terracotta pot, which was a very, very simple shape, a rectangle with a square. I wanted to attempt a terracotta pot color, so I mixed pink, yellow, and orange all together. I definitely just got orange, but it's still cute. And moved on to the plant, which is a simple sprout. To start off with, we have our line with a couple of semicircles, and that's it. It looks just like a plant. What else do you need? For our level 2 plant, obviously we have to make the pot a little bit bigger. It's still the same general shape, a rectangle at the top, a square-ish shape on the bottom. I mixed our colors together. I got the color a little bit better this time. If you're curious how I'm mixing my colors, I am simply designating a part of the ink pad as a messy mixing area. For the plant, I wanted to go a little bit bigger. This time I'm using a thick rectangle for the stalk. The leaves are the same thing, though I am using some bigger leaves with the quarter circles together. And as is tradition, we are introducing gradients to our level 2. So I have a light green to a dark green, and then a little bit of blue just because I thought that would be a fun, darkish blue green color. It turned out perfect, and I felt like the pot needed just a little bit of detail, so I put a couple of circles just to add texture. It's cute. I love these plants so far. For our final plant, the pot has to be bigger. It's really cute. It kind of seems like we started off with just a sprout of a plant and we had to repot our plant as it got bigger throughout these drawings. Adorable. So for this pot, I'm adding a little bit more detail, like a rounded bottom, a rounded top. It just has a little bit more of a fun shape to it that's more complex than our simple styled designs. To add even more detail, I wanted to separate the top of the planter from the bottom. So I wanted to add a gradient shading, which, oh my goodness, it turned out so amazing. I just lightly dabbed our orange and red to create a gradient where there was a little bit of ink and then more ink. It looks so good. I also wanted to add just a little bit more texture, so I put some more dots on the pot. And that is our pot complete. It is time to move on to our plant, and maybe I just wanted to create a really long and winding plant. I did really struggle with trying to contain this plant in the space that I gave myself. I really wanted to go for it. I wanted to go crazy with this windy plant. I wanted more leaves, but I ran out of room. I also had a lot of trouble trying to get a gradient from just the stem area of the plant, so I just decided to put the gradient at the end of the plant. And the only issue I've had with any of these pieces is that for whatever reason, I had an additional sprout next to the big plant and I just couldn't get it to print. I even re-inked that area and tried to re-stamp it, but it just refused to take contact. I don't know what was going on. I'm gonna just chalk it up to user error. I was still happy with the rest of the plant. It was cute, but I do feel like it needed some extra color and flair, so I added some little berries. It kind of looks like a little cherry tomato plant. It's very cute. I love this little guy, and this really makes me want to experiment with more plant pieces. And that's it for this video. Once again, a huge thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Make yourself a website. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm gonna go make some more Prixel stuff because I'm obsessed. See you in the next video. Bye.